Hi, this is Jeff Howard from Winning Sales Habits, and I'm joining you today by phone while I'm on the road in Michigan. And what a perfect topic to be talking about on this particular trip. It's on taking action. Now, we all know that the economy here in Michigan is less than ideal, but it's the way that people are talking about it that really hits home for me. And what they seem to be doing about it is really quite shocking. So first of all, on the plane, the economy was discussion number one with everybody. People seemed very interested in letting me know and educating me about the subject. And when I was talking to them about being here on business, they quickly reminded me that people are just holding off on everything around here. Now, I asked a few salespeople what they were doing to counteract this economy, and I actually heard one of them say that he was just going to wait and see how it went. After I started working here, I was surprised at how many times phone calls were not returned, or the people failed to follow through on commitments, or the customer service seemed to be a little bit lax. And I guess what I was sensing is fear. I was sensing anxiousness and apprehension. Those are not the top emotions that we need as salespeople to move ahead in this economy. These are not emotions that will lead to action. Now, what we need to do here is take more action, not less action in this economy. You know, this is our time as true sales professionals that we really need to stand out. We need to communicate more with our customers. We need to go the extra mile in servicing them. You know, more top companies have been made in the down times than have been made in the boom times. I mean, companies like FedEx and IBM, Procter & Gamble, and a lot more have actually been born in recessions or the Depression. So what are we doing as sales professionals to take advantage of this? So over the past 3 videos, we've talked about a few different areas that we could take some action in. So if you remember in video number 1, we talked about finding out what the monkey traps were. You know, what are those thoughts, those beliefs, the habits that you have that are holding you back? And then we also asked you to face the truth about where you really are today, and then what your strengths and weaknesses are. On video number 2, we got into the practical habits to start right away. So the first habit was to determine your purpose, your why, the reason why you get up every single morning. And then do those whys push you past fatigue and the doubt to get in head first into the game. The second habit was about looking at your environment. So structuring your office, your home, your car, all the other surroundings, the people that are around you that are actually going to support your sales goals and not impede them. And then on video number 3, we talked about 2 more habits in the call preparation process. So the first one was scouting your customer, so how you develop a short and then a long pre-call ritual to make sure that you're confident, calm, focused, in control, and you're having fun before you meet with each and every customer. And then I'm sure you've listened to a lot of this stuff, and you said, those are pretty good ideas. I think I should do that. And I should probably be doing my homework with my clients, and I should be changing my environment so it supports me. So the question is, did you follow through? Did you take action on the knowledge, or did it just sit there until you felt comfortable again and didn't have that desire to take action? So we talk about this as developing a training mindset. And during the Daily Sales Coach program, everything is going to be about taking action on what you learn. So why don't we take action? If we think they're good ideas, why don't we do that? The number one reason that we don't take action is fear. And I know as salespeople, we don't like to admit it. We don't like to admit fear, but it's there. And it's really the antithesis of confidence. We all have fear sometimes. And the question is, can we fight through it? So I wanted to share with you a few ways as sales professionals that we can kind of get past this fear. And the first one is actually a kind of a different way of looking at selling. So we're not really selling in what we do. We're really serving. Martin Luther King said it this way. He said, anyone has the opportunity to be great because anyone can serve. It's really what our jobs are all about. It's about serving. So why is this important when it comes to fear? Because there's no fear in service. Fear is really a self-centered emotion. When I heard this the first time from someone, it really resonated home because, I've had those times when I've had call reluctance, or I didn't want to pick up that call, pick up that phone to make another prospecting call, or maybe I just, got tense because I thought, hey, maybe they're going to say no. But here's this. When you look at this and you think about it, if your job is serving your clients and you're trying to help them find solutions to their challenges, then quite honestly, the fear of rejection, call reluctance, they don't exist when you're serving. When you fear, you're thinking about yourself. What if I don't get this sale? I need that commission right now. What if they reject me? What if I just get put off to someone else? These are all thoughts about you and I, the salesperson. If you serve, the focus is on them, on leading them down the decision-making path. And if you're giving, there's no rejection. I mean, if I had a chocolate chip cookie and I wanted to give it away to you and you said, no, I don't prefer chocolate chip cookies, maybe you wanted oatmeal or something, should I feel rejected about that? Should I be fearful that you're going to turn me down for this cookie? Of course not, because I'm giving this freely. So with a servant's heart, there's no rejection or fear in sales. The second group of strategies I wanted to talk about after changing your attitude about what you're actually doing, which is serving, comes from a book by Harriet Lerner. And the book is The Dance of Fear. And she gives some really powerful ideas about how to get past fear. And as she says, dance with that fear. So the first thing she talks about, number one, is that action is powerful. Now, you probably all know that it's hard to turn a car when it's standing still. I mean, if you didn't have power steering on your car, you couldn't move those wheels. But once you start to roll, once you start to move, the steering's easy. So you need to start to take action on anything, even small things, to get the momentum going. So don't look at making 50 calls, just the first one. Once you get started, the fear will dissipate. And we've all had that experience of just getting going. It's that first call. It's that first research project. It's the first planning session that we do. That's the hardest. Number two is we succeed by failing. And this is a pretty self-explanatory one, but realize that every time you get a no, you win. And this isn't some cockamamie thing that every no you get is closer to a yes, and if you get 7 no's, then the 8th one is likely to be a yes. Quite honestly, that's BS. We're talking about if you're taking action, you're always going to get a result. And that result, if it's not the positive one of getting the sale, is going to give you a couple things. Number one, you're going to learn something from it. And then number two, you have the opportunity to grow, to not make that again, to readjust. So you want to ask yourself, what did I do great in that sales call? And what could I do better? So we want to learn, make the change, and move on. And then number three on here is we have to risk feeling ridiculous. So when you try new things, sometimes they don't work out, and you kind of feel like, well, should I have done that? When you make changes, others in your life may be critical. I mean, you're going to start to make changes in the Daily Sales Coach program. You might start making some extra prospecting calls, or you might start one of these scouting reports, and others in your office might look at you and say, what the heck are you doing? And you need to be able to get past that fear of not being like everyone else and realize that risk is necessary for reward. That if you do the activities that the average salesperson does in your office, you're going to get average results. And that's not what we're looking to do as Daily Sales Coach members. Number 4 on the list here is you need to invite fear in. In Harriet Lerner's book, she tells a story about a man who she counseled when he went through a divorce. And he had called her back up and said, you know, I've been divorced for a while now, and I just can't get myself into the dating scene. So she did something really interesting. She basically said, I want you to go down to the local mall, I think it was in Kansas City, and I want you to go to Starbucks, and I want you to use this line and talk to the women that you see there. Say, pardon, my interrupting, but I was wondering if you would like to have a cup of coffee with me. my name is, and went through that whole thing. She said, don't do anything else, just go up there and ask. So he started to ask people, and the first one rejected him, the second one rejected him, and all of a sudden, after about the fourth or fifth one of them said yes. And he sat down, and then after another couple that rejected him, he had another person that said yes. And he started to realize that these yeses were getting in the way of his rejections, and he really needed to get more rejections because she told him to get, I think, 25 or 30 rejections. He called her up, and he says, hey, I've got my rejections. I've had, 4 or 5 people say yes, and I think I'm understanding. She goes, no, you're not done yet. Now I want you to go down across the mall to the bottom of the escalators. And as women come down the escalators, I want you to say the same thing. See, sitting in front of Starbucks, there was a lot of people there wanting to get coffee. So having someone ask you for coffee was not out of the ordinary, but all the way across the mall as women came down the escalator, this was way outside the comfort zone. And she says, go out there and do the same exact thing. Hi, my name is Fred. I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to ask you if you'd like to have a cup of coffee. And he did that, and sure enough, more and more rejections piled up. But again, a couple people said yes. He called her up. He says, I get it. I understand. And this is the whole idea of inviting fear in. By the way, in the story, he was actually trying to get a date with one of his neighbors. He finally got the nerve to invite fear in and go after it and find out that she recently just got engaged. He was too late. Within 6 months, he did find somebody. But the whole point of this is that you have to invite fear in. You can't be afraid of that fear. Number 5 is motivation matters. And this really ties back to the idea that you're there to serve, not sell. And that also in the process, you're there for a purpose, your purpose, a motivation that drives you. And you have to make sure that you connect to that because motivation does matter. That will get you to take action. If you're doing it for a reason, you'll get past any type of fear that you may have. If you're doing something for a deeper value and a deeper belief. So what do we need to do to take action on what we've learned in this 4-video series? First, what we need to do is, what I'd like you to do is first make a list of the areas in your sales day that you need to take action on. Is it one of the habits we talked about, maybe the pre-call ritual or the change of environment, or maybe it's a better way to scout your customer? Do you need to clarify that purpose so it is meaningful, so it gets you out of bed like we talked about in the second video? Write down what you need to take action on and put a deadline on it, a deadline that you can complete it by. Now, second on the action plan, what I want you to do is I want you to see what strategies that we outlined today, whether it be the serving metaphor, whether it be the idea that action is powerful and taking small actions, or maybe it was inviting fear in. What strategy could you use to basically get past fear? And write that down as well. So we hope you enjoyed this warm-up for the Daily Sales Coach program. It's time to develop a training mindset in all of us to get going and get the sales goals that we truly deserve. And we hope to see you soon on one of our other programs. And I want you to have a fantastic, a great day selling. Goodbye.